Thank you, Rico.
We're good to go, right?
Oh, okay.
We text Rico?
Tell me, do you want to cue Rico? He can do the intro.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how we can do that now.
It's fine. He can do it. He's not.
He's telling me.
Oh, everybody let him make blackjack.
Get to him. He's
They
singing.
just,
He
oh.
It says the camera's not on everybody.
Well,
Oh, it's all about that. Here we go.
How blackjack takes it all, baby.
Oh my gosh, look at everybody.
Yeah.
Dude.
Thank you.
Well, no, we
I
can't.
got word. Shouldn't be here. Ain't nobody.
Why?
Now I understand, but from who to come? Yes, sir. We're ready. Okay. Okay, give me a second.
Why is this not
Yeah,
working?
I'm
Is this... Okay, we're good?
Half second now.
Rob and Morgan are right there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to be here today, once again, to celebrate our good friend, John and Morgan's wedding. And I am happy now to introduce our officiant for this occasion. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and look, hold on to your horses. I welcome to you Pope General, the only of House Penny, first of his name, the unburnt, except anytime he's outside because of his pale skin, in which case he's burnt like John and Morgan's house, which he almost burned to the ground with bacon he brought to a crispy.
Working?
Instructor of drill, teller of jokes, builder of memories, ambassador of all things Tesla and Hamilton, king of the sandals, protector of his family and friends, breaker of technical devices, getter of things on high shelves, and an all around well dude, my man, Kevin, whatever your last name is.
Give it up for Rico. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask you guys to turn off your devices.
That's probably me. Hold on, let me beat myself.
Yeah. Turn off your devices, leave your photos to the photographer that we have here.
Turn off your devices, leave your photos
Leave
to
the
the
officiating to the
photographer.
officiant.
Leave the officiating to the officiant.
You got an echo coming through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And leave the marrying to the marriage couple. And leave the guard of your eyes, aimlessly and scratching your butt on the ground to Wednesday. And leave the witnessing and enjoying this special moment for all of you that are here with us and on Zoom. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the entrance of the bride, Morgan Barlow, as she is walked down the aisle by her father, Rob Barlow.
Alex, are we ready yet? Yes.
have me now? Hello?
Yeah.
I think we're good. Okay. All right. Welcome, everyone that's here, as well as those of you joining us on Zoom and Facebook. Now, everyone, please take your seats. Now, everyone, please stand. Okay. This is my first time doing it, but I just want to see how far I can get. All right. First of all, I am honored, and how honored all of you are that I'm here. You know, if it wasn't for this wondrous occasion, I would be somewhere on the Pacific Parkway, just cruising up and down, thinking of some life questions like, why are we here? What happened to the other 56 varieties of Heinz ketchup? Where is Old Seal? Why are they called mustaches and not mouth travel? And of course, the stumper of all stumpers, why didn't Noah spot those two mosquitoes? But I'm not on the GWP, I'm here with all of you fine folks. And before we get to why we're really here, consider this for a bit of context. Did you know that in the month of May, several truly historic events are taking place? In May of 1707, by the way, as I read these, I want you to see some parallels between what's happening here today. In May of 1707, Great Britain formed as a union between England, Scotland, and Wales. In 1804, Lewis and Clark departed St. Louis on their exploration into the great unknown, hopefully find themselves to push forward. In May of 1881, Clara Barton founded the American Red Cross. Nurse with us. In 1920, Pope John Paul II was born in Wadowice, Poland. And in 1922, not too far from here, the Lincoln Memorial was dedicated. And it was, the architect was none other than Henry Bacon, because, well, Bacon. And in May of 1978, Kevin Linkay was born in Mexico City. Also, ever since 1914, and thanks to Woodrow Wilson, we've been celebrating Mother's Day. So as you can see, many incredible events belong to the month of May. And how about the day? Well, May 29th. May 29th in 1790, Rhode Island became the 13th of 13 original colonies ratified by the U.S. Constitution. That's interesting. In 1953, Edmund Hillary in Mackenzie, Norway, was the first to climb Mount Everest. Okay. But now, an event to surpass them all. Morgan and Johns Union, their exploration into the unknown. A nurse and a Polish man who worked all bacon, even when I almost burnt their house down making it for them. Today, these two join their lives from this day until their last day. And speaking of truly historic events, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to witness my debut as a wedding officiant. I worked really hard on this and even got dressed up with shoes, so thank you. I'm not saying that correlation equals causation, but what I am saying is that I'm up here, I will say a few words, and then these two will begin the rest of their happiest lives together. You can figure out how much of that is due to me, but no one can prove it isn't. We've got a great show for you today. Coming to you live, we have Morgan Barlow in her debut role as the greatest woman John has ever known. And we have John in his role as the man who knows Morgan is the greatest woman he has ever known. We also have Wednesday reprising her role as ring walker-upper, taking a break from her usual duties as poop layer-outer in this very yard. Good luck to everyone, by the way. And then, of course, we have Kevin in his role as director, efficient extraordinaire. Unlike the Uber of hopes, I was readily available, inexpensive, and my 4.9 star rating is about as meaningful as that label on a bottle of sleeping pills that says may cause drowsiness. It's about as useful as a concrete parachute. All the same, here we are, and man, how exciting. And as John and Morgan's marriage takes flight here today, you are free to move about the cabin of your imagination and think of me as your pilot and this marriage as a flight of sorts. And like a dedicated flight crew, please forgive me as I offer a safety brief and demo for our honored couple. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard Forever Airlines Flight 529 with service to your destiny, Oregon, since you all know that's the only state John has not been to. I am General Penn, however, the real captain of this flight is Nurse Morgan Barlow, and First Officer is Boy Scout John Durecki. Please take a moment, reach under your seats, locate and review the safety card, and follow along as we demonstrate the features of this Whirlwind 2020 aircraft. Whenever the seatbelt sign is on, please take your seat, fasten your seatbelt low and tight across your lap, and listen quietly as Morgan tells you everything you've just done wrong and what you need to do to fix it. To fasten, slide the metal end into the buckle. Lift the buckle to release, but only after apologizing profusely and once the captain has turned on the forgiveness sign. We expect a generally smooth flight. However, in the event of unexpected turbulence, keep in mind that U.S. law and FAA, that's the Fidelity and Emirates Airline regulations, require compliance with all lighted signs and crew member instructions. You are encouraged to meet any approaching university with open hearts and open minds, just not open windows. Unless, of course, you have some sort of parachute, which you don't.
And if you did, it's probably made of concrete like the one I mentioned earlier. So bottom line, stick it out and work it out. Please take this moment to look around in order to familiarize with the aircraft. The Warbird 2020 has no exit doors, 0 on the left and 0 on the right. All of these non-exits are marked with overhead signs stating clearly and unequivocally, you are married. And more than that, you are in love. If somehow you bump your head and are still looking for an exit, please keep in mind the only exits there ever were may be behind you, and they are sealed shut by this ceremony. I don't care if we run out of pretzels or whiskey or even gas. You're in this until the end, and what a wonderful journey to be on. In the unlikely event of emergency, an emergency slide will inflate indoors just to help get you through it. This slide is known as your parents and siblings, your close friends and family, and even an MFT if needed. Not to be confused with HMFIC, which is, yep, you guessed it, still Morgan. If you must exit the aircraft, exit path lighting and crushing guilt will lead you to the cargo bay of despair where you'll find all the rest of your life's baggage. It's cold down there and dark, and someone's bag smells like moldy gym socks, so again, I recommend staying in the cabin. If there is any loss in pressure to love and please each other, an oxygen mask will drop from above your seat. Firmly pull the mask and extend the tubing to start the flow of oxygen, because clearly your brain is stopped functioning. You're each the best thing to ever happen to one another. So place the mask over your nose and mouth, slip the elastic band over your head, and tighten the straps. Under your seat in a pouch, you'll find a life vest. However, once again, it's about as useful as the back pocket on a t-shirt. It's decorative. It may look like a life vest and feel like a life vest, but it's really just a dog toy for Wednesday to eat in about 14 seconds. Should you find yourself compelled to try it on anyway, then when directed, retrieve that pouch, open it, remove the vest, and slip it over your head. Then toss that handful of bacon you better be carrying off to the side so Wednesday eats that instead of your vest while it's still attached to you. You're certainly free to crochet, Morgan, or repair something Boy Scout John until your heart's content. Speaking of, Morgan, I'm still waiting on my Hamilton scarf. Well, that's right, I haven't told you about that. I like a Hamilton scarf. Please and thanks. And John, I just don't feel I have an adequate number of flashlights in my life. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be taking off soon. Please make sure your actual backs are upright with conviction and emotional integrity, and that your tray tables are clear and secure from any inhibitions or hesitations. And thank you again for choosing Forever Airline. Ladies and gentlemen, in just a few moments, Morgan and John will say a few words to each other. And I would just like to point out that words mean things. The word run, for example, has more definitions than any other word in the dictionary. To go faster than a walk is probably the most common, as in, John ran towards Morgan with the speed of an ostrich, but the grace of an ostrich. Or how about to keep company, as in, John used to run with a surly crowd. Just kidding, guys. Then there's to go back and forth, as in, Morgan runs between DC, Reston, and Alexandria, going wherever she must be to help those who need her most. However, some of these definitions are a touch more obscure, though perhaps no less useful in describing the love between these two. To occur persistently, as in, for John, loyalty and fierce dedication to those he loves runs deep in his character. Or an unbroken course of performances and showings, as in a long run on Broadway. Or may your marriage have as long a run as there are flashlights in John's house, car, and clothing. Well, speaking of words, we are now about to hear a few from some of your family, and then we'll hear some from the two of you in the form of vows. As you speak them, I'd like you to consider this. Vow as a noun. Okay, but vow as a verb. That's really something. Okay, you're about to hear from some family, including John's father, Terry. Who you won't be hearing from is John's father, John, or Dad. And while I wouldn't for an instant presume to know what he would say on a day such as this, I can't help but believe he would be oh so proud of you, John. If the family and friends with us here today and those of us on the interwebs are any indication, you are loved dearly. And doubtless, you would be among your biggest champions and most ardent supporters. And I'm sure he would quite approve of your actions today and those that led you here. You had to fall in love so that you could fly, and your dad would know. On that happy but heart-stringy note, we are now distributing anti-crying eye drops for this next part, which will hopefully be followed by love, laughter, and happily ever after. Help yourself, there's actually anti-crying eye drops. And for those of you that need some help crying, you can, there's a couple of minutes that will help get the tears going. They're all individual, you can read it. And at this time, I would like to invite Morgan's awesome sister, Paige, up here to say a few words. Here you go.
Most of you sitting out there know more about love and marriage than I ever will. I do know that, in spite of what some of the famous old readings say, it is impossible to perfectly define what love is or what marriage is, or how to keep them strong. The definition is different for each couple. Morgan and John, this is your relationship. your wedding, your marriage, your life. You had the amazing good fortune to find one another, and now you get to define what love and marriage will mean to you. This will be one of your greatest tasks and greatest adventures. Your married life will be uniquely yours. No one else has ever had that particularly life, and no one else will ever. Make it loving, make it wild, and make it last.
And now I'd like to invite John's father, Terry, Colonel United States Marine Corps retired, to the arbor to say a few words.
Should I kill him now or wait until the end of the ceremony? I get a lot of thumbs up for right now. From this side of the aisle to this side of the aisle, and everyone on the internet and everyone up above, welcome. It's truly a blessing and an honor to be up here to say a few words to John Michael. Slide up here just a little bit. Okay, right there. Hold it. Okay, no, right there. Okay.
Nothing's changed.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry, but I'll give it a go here. First of all, especially to Morgan's parents. And all of the family, Paige, Emma, everyone else, we'd like to offer you all a great big hug. 6 feet apart, but a great big hug. And I think of the journey that these two folks have made to get here, and I'm kind of amazed, really, because we started talking about this wedding 2 years ago. And of course, it was going to have a big wedding here in Virginia. It was going to be not a big wedding, a gigantic wedding here in Virginia. Decided to go a little bit more personal, maybe downsize just a little bit, and we're going to do it in Malta. As a matter of fact, I just got a notice that it's okay for me to check in the hotel in Malta today. I guess they didn't get the memo. But now we have the QCW, my big fat QCW, where your biggest concern, other than this guy, is do we have matching face scarves as we walk down the aisle? Don't have to worry about that. QCW, everybody likes a good acronym. The Quarantine Corona Wedding. Okay. So when John asked me to say a few words as the father of the groom, I immediately said, well, what does the father of the groom say? And you know what my source was, right? Google. I went to Google and Googled father of the groom. Now, when father of the groom talks or toast became an issue or a thing, I don't know, but it is a thing because there were 68 million hits on the first go-around. And there are some really good ones out there on the internet. Some are funny, some are kind of bad. I saw one that went on for 48 minutes. I'm going to try to cut that down just a little bit, maybe 46, 45, but let's see. Always some recurring themes when you talk about father of the groom. And I'll shorten that, another acronym, the FOG speech. Here's where we are. And one of the things is suggest that the new bride look at the fog and say, that's what he's going to look like in 20 years? So, John, you got some downsizing to do here. Of course, I'm joking because everyone knows that I'm just a stand-in at this point for John's real dad, who's not with us anymore, but is here in spirit. But along those lines, you kind of, when we're talking about what things are going to happen over the next 20 years, you've seen pictures of John's father. I think everybody's seen pictures of John's father. And you know, there's like clones. There's two of them. There's absolutely, people have come into the restaurant that knew John's father 40 years ago and almost had heart attacks thinking that he was standing there behind the bar. So the point of that is to remind you that if you do have male children, you know exactly what they're going to look like, right there. Now, on the other side of that, if you have female children, you better hope and pray that the Barlow Jimenez genes. Another frequent topic that they talk about when talking about father of the groom things is to remind the groom what a lucky man he is to have such an amazing, beautiful, talented, ambitious, smart, well-educated woman who has chosen him for his life partner. So, John, I'll add a little bit to that reminder, and that is that it's probably best to never question your bride's decisions, because you are the most important one that she made. Okay, and then I'll just mention a couple of John's strong points. First of all, he actually is, I talked about how well-educated Morgan is, and John's very well-educated too. He holds a bachelor's degree from University of Colorado. Colorado University, CU Boulder. And he managed to knock that out in 6.5 years. So, I mean, that's pretty good, right? Now, I'm not picking on him here. It's not my place to pick on him now, especially because I think looking back on it with the ability to kind of judge what's happened, it was a good education. The example that I like to offer is that when he finally did graduate after 6.5 years, we made a trip up to Boulder to see him, sat down for a celebratory dinner in a restaurant, had a great meal, phenomenal meal. And at the end of the meal, he just kind of looked over and said, "How did you like the dinner?" I said, "Oh, it was great, really good." Yeah, I own the restaurant. That was his first venture into the restaurant industry. He did that in conjunction with going to school. So I look at that 6.5 years through a different lens now. And I know that you really did get a real world practical education and continue every day to put it to good use. Okay. I'm not going to talk about Billy. Okay? Does everybody know what Billy is? What it is, who it is?
In my driveway.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, Billy. Well, like I said, I'm not going to talk about Billy. Maybe if I might have a few seconds later on when we're drinking. Yeah. Okay, but anyways, seriously, amazing work ethic. He does have an amazing work ethic. I think he gets that probably from his mom, but he works all the time up until I don't know how he does it, but. And it is reflected in his care and kindness to his employees, to his friends, and to his family. Consider that he is one of the oldest serving mentors for the TAPS program. I think what that does is that illustrates that he recognizes his past and he is committed to his future and the future and well-being of more than just himself. One last thing I'll mention about family is that, again, to Morgan, to Rob, Kelly, Emma, and Paige, welcome to the family that is known as, I'm going to say this quickly, the Menesloser, DeBoer, Stovall, Jarecki, Dugan, Tracy, Baker, Gaffney, Schneider, Scarborough. I don't think I left anybody out. Okay. And hopefully, up there on the screen is the matriarch of this side of the family, and that would be Mrs. Roseanne Kitty Dugan at 93 years old, She called me this morning and said, "Can you send that to my Facebook, my iPad on my Facebook?" So hopefully she's there watching me now. Again, welcome, and let's get the show moving.
Thank both of you, and if you'll pardon me, I'm going to turn my attention to these two as they exchange some vows that they prepared. Start with you, John. Do you promise to overlook the fact that Morgan did not like The Princess Bride, Pulp Fiction, or Big Lebowski?
I do.
Do you also promise to continue to watch stupid 80s comedies that she mysteriously laughs at?
I do.
Do you promise to continue to order pineapple on her pizza for her for as long as you both shall live?
I do.
That's good. These are easy. Do you promise to allow the word poop to be said in your household?
I do.
Okay, we'll come back to your other ones. Morgan, do you promise to love him as unconditionally as Wednesday does?
I do.
Do you promise to continually support his flashlight collection?
Always.
Do you promise to care for him in his old age, even while you're straight?
Even while I'm still young.
And do you promise to never build IKEA furniture together?
Never again. I do.
Okay, John, take it away with your other ones.
I guess to be more serious, God knows I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I can see Zoom going, yes, he has. But I can't tell you how good it feels to know that this isn't one of them. The reason that I was kind of pushing to keep this date amidst all the cancellations and all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world was because I didn't want to wait one more day to be your husband. So we're there, and my vow to you is that I'm yours forever.
John, I love you. Unconditionally and without hesitation, I take you as you are today, who you are yet to become tomorrow, and in the days and years ahead. I promise to live in truth with you, to build our dreams together, and to always stand by your side. I promise to support you endlessly, to fight complacency in our relationship, and to appreciate your efforts, both great and small. And I promise to encourage your dreams and help shoulder our challenges. With all my heart, I have never had any doubt that we were meant to be together. John, I love you.
Okay.
All right. Ooh. Okay, if we could get Wednesday up together, please.
Just not taking down right now. That'd be great.
Okay, John and Morgan, please repeat after me as you exchange the rings. John, I drink and I know things.
I drink things.
Morgan, you know nothing, John Jarecki.
You know nothing, John Jarecki.
John, I am hers and she is mine.
I am hers and she is mine.
I am his and he is mine. And now both of you, from this day until my last day.
This day until my last day.
Okay. Well, with nothing left to be said, and by the power vested in me by John and Morgan, but mostly Morgan, and the Commonwealth of Virginia, I now pronounce you husband and wife. John, you may kiss the bride. Following this recessional, please join us as we celebrate over dinner, drinks, and camaraderie. For those of you on Zoom, hang tight. The couple would like to say something to you. And ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to introduce you for the first time, Mr. and Mrs. John and Morgan Durant.
Thank you all, one way or another, for being here with us. You've all played such an important role in our lives, and we're so glad we could share this moment with you.
It's way better than I would have said it. I just want to kind of go through. We've got a huge TV here. We can kind of scrolling through, and we can see everybody on Zoom. I just want to say to all the folks in Iowa and Kansas that raised me, you're dearly missed. To my many father figures in the 6th, 12th, and the 90th, I can see you, and you're here, and I appreciate it. To the Legion of Dugans, Grandma Kitty especially, I think we've just figured out how to do Dugan weddings from now on. To all my amazing Taps family, you're here too. To my Colorado brothers, at what point do I lavalier her? How does that work? To my lovely nieces, I'm sorry you can't be here, but I'm thinking of all of you. To local folks like Rye and Maggie and Kathy and Brad, I'm sorry y'all can't be here, but these are the times. But I can see you, and I really very much appreciate it. Let's see, we got, I guess I just want to say that I know things right now aren't really going that well, and a lot of you are trying to climb out of a valley. And Hosea, I'm thinking about you. Uncle Terry, I'm thinking about you. So we hope that this was a few moments of peace and goodness that can kind of make maybe this whole period better. And lastly, to my father's side of the family, there. I've got the judge's cufflinks on. And they're still Lincoln cuffs, so the Jareckies are still here, +1. You're dearly missed. So thank you very much, y'all. Rico is going to do the outro here, and we're so lucky to have Rico in our life. He's my brother from another mother, and we're so honored that he was here tonight. So he's got a song he wanted to sing to us, and we're going to stand here and, I guess awkwardly listen to it. Thank you, Rico. There he is.
John, I love you, brother. You know, I told you a long time ago that I would follow you to the end of the earth, and I still will. You're the second person on the planet, man. You were the first that I ever said that to. Morgan, you got yourself a good, fine man. I wish you all nothing but the best, love and health and happiness for the rest of your lives. This song is a tune that Willie Nelson and my wife asked me to learn it for her birthday, and I'm gonna sing it to you all. It's called "I Have to Be Crazy." Oh, I love you. music again. Boy, you call me a fool if I picked up my top hat, ran away to chase down the wind. Well, if I did something weird, like grow me a beard, just to see what the rednecks do. Oh, but you know I'd have to be crazy, gone out of my mind, wanna fall out of love with you. Though I don't intend to. Oh, but if I ever happen to say, if I said, darling, that I no longer love you, oh, you know, then they'd have to carry me away. Everybody think I was crazy if I lived and I never known, waiting alone for a stamp. You know, they call me the go-go. Boy, if I rub on my lamp, burning my finger, waiting for the genie to come out. Now you know I'm not wrong. Nobody really is. So I'm gonna tell you this time, one more time for I'm through. Said I'd have to be crazy, gone out of my mind, to fall out of love with you. Said I'm not never